So what does a union do? So the most powerful thing that a union does is it gives you a voice on the job. And a lot of people, when I tell them that, they're like, what is a voice going to do for me? I have a voice, I have a big voice, I have the biggest mouth at work, and I'll go in and tell the employer how it is if I don't like it. And I tell that person, well, I hope it works out for you, but let me just tell you what can happen. If you go in alone, you can go and complain to your boss and you can say, thanks for coming in, now get out, you're fired. Because I have 100 people outside do the job for the same amount of money or less than you do. And your employer is allowed to do that. If he fires you for any non-discriminatory reason or non-retaliatory reason, you are an at-will employee, which means that you work at the will of your employer. And they're free to set all the terms and conditions of your job that they want. And they can get rid of you. I don't like the way you're dressed today. We have a dress code, get out. So you don't really have a voice when you're an at-will employee.
Es el poder de varios, de mucha gente, de muchas voces.
So what's the difference? So when you have union representation, because those are your options, you can be an at-will employee or you could be represented by a union. What's the difference? So when you're a unionized employee, it's not that you now can go to your employer, it's that by law, your employer now has to come to you. And that's what a voice is. By law, when you're represented by a union, your employer cannot change any of the terms and conditions of work without first sitting down and negotiating in good faith with the employees. So it's a much more powerful situation for employees. If you want to go and talk to the boss, by law, he has to sit down with you. You can't say, get out, I don't want to. If they make any changes to your working conditions without first talking to you and negotiating in good faith and trying to reach an agreement, then you can sue them for any losses that you incurred as a result of that. So if they just came and said, okay, you were paid $15 an hour, now I'm paying you minimum wage. If they just made that change, you can now sue them and get all that money you lost because they didn't sit down and you didn't agree to that.
Entre la persona y la compañía.
So I see I'm low on time, so I'm going to try to condense a lot right now into a very little bit of time, but they're just the most important things. I usually talk about, what unions have accomplished in the last 100 years. The main laws, the 8-hour workday, child protection laws, everything employees enjoy today have been a result of working men and women joining together and fighting for that. I like to give an example of something modern that people can see a real difference in. If anybody here has ever worked as a housekeeper in a hotel in the area in Westchester County, if you haven't, that person makes roughly minimum wage. They're lucky if they can get medical benefits that they pay for. But if you take a 30-minute train ride into Manhattan, a maid in that unionized hotel makes roughly $30 an hour. They have full medical, a pension, time off from work. They have protection from losing their job. It's a real middle-class job. And that's what unions can do, and there's no reason that that can't be done today. Why is it a function of taking a train ride? It's not. It's because 80% of the hotels in New York City are unionized. And they're prevented from saying, we'll be more competitive by pushing employee wages down and lowering our prices so we make the same amount of money. They can't do it. That's why it's very expensive to stay in the hotel. But it's worthwhile because now people in a job that normally pays minimum wage can have a future for themselves and their family. All right, so I'm out of time. The last thing I'd say is if you're interested, if you want to learn about how you join a union, you can call us or any other union. They'll meet with you for free. They'll explain the process. If you don't like them, call another one. But there's a process you have to follow, and they'll explain how you could do it and take you through the whole thing.